Good afternoon. This is a special edition of Political Paula. You guys all know how honest I always am with you. And by the title of this show, I think you already know where I'm going with this. But no, I did not vote yesterday. And many of you might go, my God, you're Political Paula. How could you not vote? Well, here's why I didn't vote. And here's why I'm also not ashamed of not voting. Did I feel a little guilty yesterday? Maybe a twinge, but not really. Because remember yesterday's show when I talked about my soul searching right now, about where I stand in politics, my personal politics, my personal political beliefs? Well, if I had voted yesterday, I would have done something that I think is worse than not voting. I would have voted stupid. Because no longer am I the person who walks into the voting booth and hits D for Democrat and walks out without even knowing who the hell I just voted for, other than the president or the big kahuna on the top of the ballot. Never again can I do that. I can no longer vote strictly by someone with an elephant picture next to their name. And I'm not quite ready yet either, nor do I think maybe I ever will be, to vote for the donkey on the other side, the Republicans. I can't just push R, because some of the Republican candidates basically scare the shit out of me. Do you know who they are? They're the ones who believe that everybody in America should be forced to read the Bible every morning and go to church every Sunday and bow down and worship Jesus Christ and stop using birth control and have lots of babies. Those people I don't want in office. I don't want them making laws for women and couples like us. I don't want them trying to redefine marriage as a union between a man and a woman for the procreation of children, invalidating any couple who gets married and either cannot or chooses not to have children. That's what they tried to do in the Supreme Court, and that's why they lost. The religious right actually was the ones trying to redefine marriage, not the LGBTQ community. And that's why the religious right lost that battle, and why gay marriage is legal. Because it should be. Because the only argument they had is that gay people can't make babies the old-fashioned way. And as many of the Supreme Court justices in their wisdom reminded them, there are millions of couples out there, heterosexual couples, who also do not make babies the old-fashioned way or don't even want babies. And with this argument, what they were trying to do was negate all of those marriages. They wanted to make my marriage invalid by their new definition. Because when my husband and I got married, let me tell you what, the only reason we got married was for the tax breaks. We were happy living together. But we weren't going to pay inheritance tax and all that crap. We got tax breaks when we got married. We got a lot of breaks. We got health insurance breaks because we're married. Homeowners breaks, car insurance. We got discounts because we're married. We took the bribes, but we ain't taking the bribes to have children. No, we're not. So look, I didn't want to vote stupid, so I didn't vote. And sadly, after the 2016 election, I accused some people in a dark moment of shock and awe that Trump won. I accused some people of voting stupid, of just hitting R even though you held your nose to do it. You didn't like Donald Trump. You didn't want Trump to be your president, but you hated Hillary so much that you voted for Trump anyway. And I would have personally rather you just have sat that one out. I usually don't say that, but I'm a different political Paula this season. I really am. I would rather, if you are just going to vote because you hate the other candidate so much, and you only kind of dislike the one you're voting for, please don't vote. Don't vote. I told you yesterday that I believe we should have a stronger independent party. And I don't care what they call themselves. There were independent candidates on my ballots here in Pennsylvania. Problem is, I didn't know any of them. Never heard of them. Never saw them in a debate. They weren't invited. Never got any literature from them. They couldn't afford to print up literature. And I'm not going to just vote for someone because they have an I next to their name either. That would be a stupid vote because I don't know what they stand for. I don't know who they are. It's really sad that this is what it's come down to in this country. But while I never encourage anyone not to vote, I will tell you that I was annoyed by the last election, the 2016 election, because of the Electoral College, which I have discussed often. The fact that I waited in line for 45 minutes to vote for president, and I did vote for Hillary, and my vote didn't count, even though she did win the majority of the popular vote. More people, and please, Trump people, please don't start. This is the truth. More people voted for Hillary than voted for Trump. The problem is not enough people in Pennsylvania voted for Hillary to make my vote count. So I wasted my time. You know, I spent 10 minutes walking to the polls, 10 minutes walking back. There's 20 minutes, waited in line 45 minutes, and then voted and was out. So that's like an hour and a half of my day. And my vote did not count because technically the person that I voted for won, but she didn't win. Now, today, I'm glad that Hillary Clinton is not our president. Because, again, I don't like that village thing. You know, the successful, intelligent, hardworking village people have to pay for the village idiots. Not into that. But, again, the Electoral College makes people feel that their votes don't count. And perhaps it is time to get rid of that. And be like a high school class reunion or class presidential election. You put ballots in a box, whoever gets the most votes wins. That's the way it should be. It should not be this percentage and these regional things and who's this and what district is this, and then you bring it all together, and all of a sudden, even though more people voted for the candidate, well, your state's a certain color, and that's all that matters, the color of your state. Speaking of color, here's the other problem. I get up this morning, I turn on the news, right? Color and gender, all that seem to matter. I hear these news reporters on all of the, well, especially on MSNBC. Oh my God, so many women won their elections. Atta girl. Okay, so a lot of women won their elections. Are they the best woman for the job? Are they the best person for the job? See, they're not talking about the policies, what the person stands for, what they're going to do for the country or for their state. They're just cheering because it was a woman. And I don't roll that way. You know, that didn't work for Hillary Clinton, and I told you why. Because some women were smart enough to say, I'm not voting for her to break a glass ceiling. I'm not voting for her because she's a woman. I don't agree with her shit. I don't agree with her village shit, her free college shit. I'm voting for Trump. I would hope that voters are too smart to vote for someone because of the way they look or the gender, the color of their skin, their sexual orientation. Someone just said, oh my God, we just elected the first Native American woman to Congress. Wow, hit the jackpot with that one. What does she stand for? What is her position on LGBTQ rights? What is her position on healthcare? What is her position on immigration? We don't know, but she's an American Indian and she's a woman. Yay. Down in Georgia, they're already screaming voter suppression because the African American candidate for governor apparently has lost. And sadly, and oh, don't even say this, this is not racist, but sadly, they're screaming voter suppression because I guess Georgia is, a lot of African Americans live in Georgia, so they just assumed that every black person in Georgia was going to vote for the black candidate, and then every woman, black or white, in Georgia was going to vote for the female candidate. Well, guess what? That probably didn't happen. And why should it? Why should anybody vote because Oprah told them to? Oprah don't live in Georgia. Oh, Obama told them to. Really? Well, he don't live in Georgia either. And nothing that happens in Georgia will affect Oprah's bottom line, her financial stability, or Obama's bottom line, or his financial stability. You know, Obama's kids are in college now. You don't have to worry about the schools. Oprah don't have no kids. So what was her message going down there into Georgia and endorsing the female African American candidate? And should anybody vote because Oprah said vote for her? The other issue with voter suppression is, oh my God, they're making us show a photo ID. This is going to bother me till my last breath. Do you know that in 2 short years, actually a year and a half, I am not going to be able to get on a plane in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and fly to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina without a passport? Oh, I have a driver's license issued in Pennsylvania, but it's not real ID. So I either have 2 choices. I pay the state of Pennsylvania triple for a real ID driver's license and basically spend 3 hours showing them utility bills to prove I live where I live, all kinds of crap, or I just apply for a passport, which is good for 10 years. The real ID is good for 4. I pay the federal government $90. And from now until I'm 65 years old, my passport's good, and probably after 65, I'll either be dead or won't have any place to go anyway. But these people bitch because they got to show a photo ID to vote, to prove they actually have the right to vote, because they're American citizens, 1, and they live in the area where they're voting, 2. But nobody has a problem with me having to have a passport to go from Philadelphia to Boston, which I could be in 8 hours in a car, or Philadelphia to Myrtle Beach, 8 hours in a car, or Philadelphia to anywhere in the United States without a passport. I can't go to Mexico without a passport, and yet the Democrats, who I refused to vote for yesterday, they want people to just walk in. I can't just walk to Mexico for vacation. I need a passport. Same thing with Canada. I can't just walk into Canada. I need a passport. And yet they want to just open up the borders and anybody can vote. Just walk in and say, hi, I'm Joe Smith. Yeah, I live up the street. I want to vote. Okay. How do we know he's Joe Smith? He could be Jacob Smith. Or he could be Joe Hernandez, who just walked in from Mexico and decided to go to the voting booth and vote for whoever allowed him to walk over the border with no one bothering him. Who knows? Of course you need photo ID to vote. That's not voter suppression. That's making sure that nobody can come and claim voter fraud. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And like I said, I will never tell anyone not to vote, but I really do encourage you not to vote stupid. Vote for someone you believe in. And unfortunately, yesterday there was nobody on that ballot except for Tom Wolf, who I actually believed in. And sadly, you're not just allowed to vote for the governor. You got to do the whole thing. And I couldn't look myself in the mirror this morning if I had just haphazardly started voting for people, split the baby in half. Well, I'll do half Democrat, half Republican. And just vote for people I've never heard of. And I have no idea what their agenda is, what their platforms are. So I would rather sit this out. I did sit this one out. And I would rather that if you don't think you're a Democrat and you don't think you're a Republican, that you sit a few of these elections out too. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the only way we are ever going to have a real alternative to the horse's ass and the fat, long-trunked peanut eater, the elephant and the donkey, is if people stop voting Republican or Democrat and start paying attention to the independents, start insisting that they get an invitation to every debate. And nobody in this country should have to be a billionaire to run for office. That's the other problem. The independents don't get the backing. They don't get the financing. While the Republicans work for the Republican National Committee and they have to follow their rules, like putting Sarah Palin on the ballot for vice president when John McCain did not want her, and the American people didn't want her. You want to talk about women not voting for women? And let's please not talk about voter suppression. Obama talks about voter suppression. Is he kidding? He won the popular vote twice. Last I saw, he was black. There was no voter suppression. But again, it was just assumed that all black people would vote for Obama. Not because he was the best guy for the job, but because he was black. And a lot of people felt everyone's going to vote for McCain because Sarah Palin's a woman and she has a disabled baby. Yeah, and a 17-year-old pregnant daughter. And then she wants to preach abstinence to our American children as part of her platform as vice president. No, thank you. That woman was nuts. Although Republican women creamed their jeans when they saw her. Oh my God. Her daughter didn't have an abortion. Yeah, of course she didn't have an abortion. Sarah Palin's daughter wasn't allowed to have an abortion. It would have ruined Sarah Palin's career. Don't worry, Bristol. I'll change the diapers. I have lots of experience. When your baby takes a shit and the disabled one takes a shit, we'll change them together. I'll change both of them at the same time. Just don't get an abortion. I'll never be vice president if you do. That's the kind of hypocrisy I can't stand. And I'm sorry. Everybody says, vote for Hillary, vote for the women who are running. Aren't you part of the sisterhood? No, I'm part of the American hood. See? And no, I'm not part of the village that Hillary believes America is. I'm part of my village. And I'm the queen of my village. And there are no idiots in my village who make stupid mistakes and do things and then ask other people to pay for them. That's not how we roll in my village. You do that in my village, you're kicked the hell out of the village. So no, I don't vote with the sisters. I don't vote gender. I don't vote race. I don't vote for someone because they're white or male or female. I don't vote for someone because they're gay. And I don't vote for someone because they're Indian or Muslim or Christian. That's not my litmus test. I want to know when you get elected, what are you going to do to prosper in my village, to make my village prosper. It's not growing. We're not adding any more people. We just want the 3 people who live here, my husband, myself, and our dog, to prosper, to have more money in our pocket since we're going out and earning it after all, and less money in the people down the street who are not earning it, but get it anyway. That's what I want in my candidate. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you have children. I don't care if you're divorced. I don't care if you cheat on your wife or on your husband. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see you every Sunday morning coming out of church. I don't care. Tell me how you're going to make my village prosper. How I can make my village prettier with home decor, a new carpet, get my basement refinished. Tell me how you're going to do that. Tell me how the roads that I drive on with the members of my village are going to be safer. Tell me how the neighborhood I walk in with members of my village will be safer with more and better policing. Tell me that. And you can have a mole as big as the moon on your face, and I will vote for you. You can be purple or green or even orange, and I will vote for you. But first, you gotta tell me what you're gonna do for me and my people, my village. So once again, I'm not encouraging anyone not to vote. But what I am encouraging you to do is if you are going to vote stupid or you're going to vote because it's the way you've always voted, an R or a D, I want you to think before you do it. And that's coming from Political Paula. I am not bragging about the fact that I did not vote. I'm not ashamed of it either. I am saddened that I felt I couldn't vote because I didn't have enough information about who I was voting for. Political Paula, out.